Kaiokayan's body began to glow and emit a powerful evil energy that started spreading in all directions, leaving the spectators astonished and wondering what was happening. Kaiokayan caught Lu Sheng's attention and asked him not to be surprised because there was still more. After saying this, he used the transformation ability, and slowly his body began to transform. While he was looking at the ground, he started smiling and gradually his skin began to change color. While his chest was glowing and his body was emitting a powerful evil energy, he stomped the ground forcefully and slowly his body began to become more muscular, tearing his shirt into pieces. His hair started changing to white. This ability was known as the second stage of extreme mode. In a matter of seconds, the suffocating energy that Kaiokayan's body was emitting reached Lu Sheng, who quickly put his arm in front of his face and wondered what was happening. Several seconds later, Kaiokayan's body became huge and muscular. Now he had long white hair, 2 demonic horns, 2 sharp teeth, sharp claws, and a powerful evil energy in the center of his chest. The people who were in the stadium were terrified and amazed. While a girl was looking at Kaiokayan, she started wondering what kind of technique this was. Another boy explained to the others that Kaiokayan's terrifying pressure couldn't even be compared to a master's body. Another boy, who was also staring open-mouthed at Kaiokayan, revealed to the others that this was the true power of the extreme demonic star. He also added that in the last competition, he had swept through the first stage of transformation and had been proclaimed as the best among masters. He began to wonder how terrifying it would be now that he had entered the second stage. While Chan Yu was staring fixedly at Kaiokayan with a surprised look, she became terrified as she realized how powerful he was. It felt strange to her because she didn't know why she felt like this force wasn't emanating from Kaiokayan but rather emerging from within his own body. For her, this sensation seemed to be that of a strange beast. Zhao and the other teachers who were watching the fight were left speechless when they saw Kaiokayan's body emitting this aura. Zhao, who had both hands resting on the balcony while observing the fight, was terrified. He began to wonder how this was possible and realized that Kaiokayan was emitting the same aura as a master. It didn't take him long to come to the conclusion that Lu Sheng was in danger. While the powerful aura of Kaiokayan was impacting Lu Sheng's body, he was left speechless. He began to stare at him and thought that this was quite interesting, since Kaiokayan's power was already stronger than that of an ordinary semi-master. It didn't take long for him to realize that his strength had increased at least 4 times. Noticing that his aura was strange, Lu Sheng started wondering if he had mutated. Upon realizing this, his expression changed drastically. His body began to emit a powerful energy and he started staring at Kaiokayan. Several seconds later, Kaiokayan completed the transformation. He started staring at Lu Sheng, then extended both hands and his body began to emit a powerful energy which quickly advanced towards him. He simply put his hands in his pants pockets and silently watched Kaiokayan. While Lion Jaibai was sitting on a chair, he crossed his arms and with a smile revealed to them that this was the power of the extreme school. He also added that now people would truly see what it meant to be extreme. While Kao King had his arms behind his back and was staring at Lu Sheng, he simply started smiling. He turned his head to the side and saw Chan Yu, who had both hands placed on her chest and looked quite scared. Upon seeing this, he couldn't help but smile. He thought to himself that Lu Sheng could no longer hog all the spotlight and she was going to be his. While Kaiokayan's body emitted a powerful and suffocating aura, he stared at Lu Sheng intently, extended his hand towards him, and with a smile asked him not to think about surrendering. He turned his body towards Lu Sheng and stomped on the ground forcefully, shattering it into pieces, preparing himself to attack. Instead of adopting a defensive stance, Lu Sheng simply put his hands in his pants pockets. Kaiokayan gained momentum and while advancing quickly towards him, he reached out to him. And while staring at him with a murderous look in his eyes, he started smiling and asked him not to think about surrendering because if he did, he would get very angry. As Kaiokayan slowly approached Lu Sheng, he tightly clenched both fists and began rapidly striking the air using the technique called the martial artist's path, extreme magic. In a matter of seconds, his fists transformed into a powerful burst of energy that began to advance rapidly towards Lu Sheng. While Kaiokayan was slowly approaching him, instead of trying to defend himself, Lu Sheng simply started looking at the ground and remained still without making any movement. Seeing Kaiokayan's incredible power, everyone was left speechless. Quickly, Zhang He stood up from his chair, and while staring at Kaiokayan with a surprised look, he asked the other masters to be prepared at all times to avoid incidents. Upon hearing the order, a man behind him who was wearing glasses and a black suit lowered his head and responded with understanding. Meanwhile, little by little, while Kaiokayan was approaching Lu Sheng, with a murderous look in his eyes, He began to stare at him intently and with an evil smile asked him not to die. He attacked Lu Sheng in the chest using his fist, and due to the force of the blow, Lu Sheng's hands came out of his pocket. The powerful energy that was in Ko Kaien's strike shot up. Upon seeing this incredible power, people were left speechless. His strike created a strong explosion, changing the color of the sky to red. While Lion Jaibai was observing the fight, he couldn't help but smile at how terrifying Ko Kaien's power was. He thought that now Lu Sheng was in trouble. Ko King, who was standing beside him and also observing the fight, simply remained silent and started to smile. Due to his powerful strike, a curtain of smoke was created. Several seconds later, as the smoke began to dissipate, Lu Sheng's body could be seen surrounded by a powerful golden energy. Upon seeing this, everyone was shocked. While Lion Jaibai stared at Lu Sheng with a surprised look on his face, he tightly gripped the arms of his chair as he couldn't believe what his eyes were witnessing. Ko King, who was by his side, was also surprised and began to wonder what was happening. Ko Kaien attacked him again in the chest. The energy of Ko Kaien and Lu Sheng started collapsing into each other. Seeing this, Lu Sheng simply looked down at the ground and couldn't help but smile. Ko Kaien's hand wasn't even touching Lu Sheng's body. He was actually trying to reach his body. But due to the powerful golden energy surrounding Lu Sheng's body, he was unable to. Lu Sheng raised his head slightly and while staring into Ko Kaien's eyes, he began to smile and asked if this was how it ended. He also asked if there wasn't a third form of extreme magic or even more powerful combat techniques. Ko Kaien raised his head slightly towards Lu Sheng and as he looked into his eyes, he couldn't help but tremble in fear. Quickly, Ko Kaien moved several meters away from Lu Sheng. And upon seeing his expression, Lu Sheng realized that he had no more techniques. While his body was emitting a powerful and golden energy, he began to clean his chest with his hand. Then he started to stare at Ko Kaien with a serious look. He started approaching him, tightly clenched his fist, and upon seeing this, Ko Kaien stepped back several meters again. Lu Sheng gathered momentum and took a big leap. Ko Kaien looked up at the sky and couldn't help but tremble and feel fear when he saw Lu Sheng getting closer to him. For Ko Kaien, Lu Sheng became enormous. He clenched his fist tightly and while preparing to attack, he began to stare at him with a murderous look and told him that if Ko Kaien was called the External Twin, Star of Extreme Magic, then his fist would be called Star Explosion. Lu Sheng's fist started emitting golden energy and as it slowly approached Ko Kaien, it created great pressure. Lu Sheng forcefully struck Ko Kaien, creating a big explosion in the ring. Upon seeing this, both Lion Jaibai and Ko King were left speechless. Several seconds later, once the smoke curtain created by the explosion disappeared, Ko Kaien fell to his knees on the ground. Lu Sheng approached him, put his hands in his pockets, and simply stood there silently observing. Ko Kaien was bleeding from all sides, from his eyes, mouth, and nose as he couldn't withstand Lu Sheng's blow and had suffered a lot of damage in the process. Upon seeing this, Lion Jaibai quickly gathered momentum and shot towards the ring. As he approached them, he began to stare aggressively at Lu Sheng, clenched his teeth tightly, and couldn't help but become enraged. In a matter of seconds, he reached the ring. He clenched his fist tightly and while preparing to attack Lu Sheng, asked him how dare he do this. Instead of trying to dodge the attack, Lu Sheng simply started looking down at the ground and remained silent without making any movement. At that moment, Zhao and the other teachers gained momentum and began advancing quickly towards Lion Jaibai. Just before he could attack Lu Sheng, Zhao and the other teachers appeared. He attacked Lion Jaibai, but he managed to react in time and block the attack. Quickly, Zhao and Lion Jaibai moved away from each other and landed in the ring near Ko Kaien. Zhao took off his glasses and while aggressively looking at Lion Jaibai, asked him what he was doing. In a matter of seconds, the other teachers also descended to the ground and began to look aggressively at Lion Jaibai. Jiang he stood up, reached out his hand towards Lion Jaibai and gave him the order to stop. He revealed to him that everyone here was also a master. After saying this, he also asked if he didn't mind making a fool of himself here. Lion Jaibai approached Ko Kaien, sat on the ground, placed a hand under his head and while looking at Zhonghe, he revealed that Lu Sheng had intentionally killed Ko Kaien. Someone who had killed the future star of Jidao Jim must die. At that moment, Ko Kaien started coughing and upon seeing this, Lion Jaibai was surprised and ordered the doctors to quickly take him to the hospital. Upon hearing this, two nurses with a stretcher began to approach the ring. While Lu Sheng was hiding behind Zhao, he asked for his help. Zhao reached out to one side and told Lion Jaibai that since Kao Kayan had not died, they could let this matter go. After saying this, he asked him not to go too far. Lion Jaibai turned his head towards them and with a murderous look, asked them not to forget what they had done to him. Jiang He stepped into the ring, took out the microphone, closed his eyes, extended his hand towards Lu Sheng and with a smile announced that victory in this battle was for him in the great arena of the Seven Saints. While Lu Sheng had his hands in his pockets, he simply started to smile. One of the guys sitting in the stadium turned his head to his friend and told him that Lu Sheng was incredibly strong since Kao Kayan, even in his second transformation of extreme mode, hadn't been able to hurt him. He asked his friend if he wasn't a master himself. The other man turned his head to his friend and asked if Lu Sheng was a master, then why was he hiding behind Vice President Zhao? He also added that Lu Sheng had only used his Kai to block Kao Kayan's attack, so he hadn't reached the position of master yet. As Lu Sheng was heading towards the exit of the ring, the man told his friend that Lu Sheng, the leader of this competition, was almost decided. The rest was just a formality. He also added that despite being only 18 years old, he was already a monster. The other man explained to him that his strength was truly outstanding, as he had already surpassed an average master. He also added that not even the magic star had been able to withstand one of his blows. While Lu Sheng was running his hand through his hair with one hand, he put the other in his pants pocket and started heading towards the exit of the ring. And so, from this moment on, the era of the twin stars Jidao had come to an end. The Demon King, Lu Sheng, would rule over the National Martial Arts Championship. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video.